Hey everyone. So the first thing I want to say is props to all of you people who do video blogs because this is not easy. I'm still getting used to seeing myself. Um, anyway, it is what it is. Uh, Thank you for the comments that people have made, most of them privately. Today, what I think I want to talk about is kind of the overarching observation that I think has really fundamentally helped me to cope with my brain and the weird things that it does sometimes, and which I really don't, I've never read, I've never seen anywhere. None of my doctors have ever talked about this with me. But I'm a very empirical person. I have always had a somewhat precocious, scientific oriented brain, and I observe a lot of things. Uh, and I very, very quickly started to observe a relationship between various physical changes to my body and my mood. And more significantly, what I also observed was that if I reproduced some of the physical changes that were associated with a particular mood state, I could actually shift into that mood state. So, probably the most profound and clearest example of that is sleep. Um, Bipolar disorder, for me, and the management of bipolar disorder pretty much boils down to the management of sleep. And when my mood is elevated, I can go for days with no sleep and not feel tired. And it's amazing. It's a physical thing. Like you can actually be physically fine on no sleep for 2 days. Mentally, things can get a little shaky, but still, not in the manner that most people would associate with 2 days of sleeplessness. Actually, um, I have, and we have, I think, the opposite, which is that your main mind doesn't necessarily become less clear. It can become initially more clear. Your thinking actually improves. Your thoughts speed up. But it's deceptive because there's a period of time where that's true. And in fact, your cognitive abilities do measurably increase and you're more insightful, more creative. Uh, Pattern finding, all kinds of capacities like that are increased. But pretty soon after that, you get into a zone where um, you're dysfunctional and you start to lose a touch with reality. And by the time that happens, you're really you're over the edge and well into the danger zone of being truly psychotic, which has only happened to me once. But that was the trajectory for me. It started with a lack of sleep. So what I found is simply by managing my sleep very aggressively, I will allow myself one night without sleep, but I will not allow myself two. And I will do whatever I need to do and take whatever I need to take to sleep after 36 hours. And I found that that alone has prevented me from a second psychotic manic relapse. But it does mean a willingness to uh, walk away from, turn your back on that elevated mood state, which is very appealing. And it sometimes means a willingness to take drugs which aren't very nice. Like for years and years and years, I took benzodiazepines to manage sleep, and they were effective. Sometimes you have to take a lot, uh, but I found that my concern has been that I was taking them too frequently, and I was concerned with some of the side effects. So I stopped the benzos, and now I'm actually taking one of the neuroleptics, Seroquel, which seems to work. It's not as effective as the clonazepam in terms of rapidly inducing sleep. But in some ways, the quality of sleep is better. Uh, so that's just one of the physical, psychological links. There are others. Another is food and food cravings. So when my mood is down, I want carbs and I want lots of carbs. When my mood is elevated, I want to eat less overall, um, and when I do want to eat, I want to eat protein. So I found um, eating less and eating protein will actually elevate my mood. Another is sexual activity and desire, which for me is a little different than it is for what I've read with other people. My actual sexual appetite increases when I'm depressed, and it decreases when my mood is elevated. Uh, and so again, if I focus on um, indulging in that appetite without getting too graphic, um, that will actually shift my mood downward over time. Whereas if I don't, that will actually shift my mood upward. And that's a very clear one. That one, food. And similarly, the flip side of the sleep is sleep deprivation. And there has been some research I've seen on this. Sleep deprivation will elevate mood. Uh, so those are kind of the big three: food, sleep, sexual appetite. Um, but then there are also some habits of thinking which are sort of more sophisticated, and that gets into the role of therapy in mental health. And I think I'll leave that for another entry. Uh, but yeah, I hope this has been interesting, helpful. It would be great to see and hear from other people and see if they've noticed a relationship between the physical and your mood, and more importantly, sort of the usefulness of it. Um, because really for me, I think the reason I've coped so well, therapy I think is fundamental. But in terms of never ever again having a psychotic episode beyond my first one, it's because I am absolutely hyper vigilant about sleep, and I will not allow myself to go for more than one night without sleep. And as a result, I've never had another manic episode that actually like required hospitalization or anything like that. So, yep, I think that's going to be it. I am late for my phone date with you, Susan, so I will hopefully do this again. Excuse me, soon. Bye.